Ladies and gentlemen, let me share with you a secret that will protect your destiny. Once you do this one thing, becoming the toxic people will never bother you again. That one thing is the decision to set boundaries and refuse to entertain anything that threatens your peace. You see, toxic people only thrive where they find weakness, attention, and reaction. The moment you stop feeding them your energy, who you are becoming, they lose their power over you. Understand this, your peace of mind is priceless. If you allow everyone access to it, who you are becoming, you are the one handing over the keys to your joy. The truth is, people can only affect you to the level that you permit them. The day you decide, no more access, no more drama, no more manipulation, you remove yourself from their grip. This is not anger, it is wisdom. It is choosing silence over argument, distance over confrontation, and dignity over noise. When you guard your spirit with boundaries, who you are becoming, you create an invisible shield. Toxic people sense it, and they retreat because they cannot survive in the presence of strength. Who you are becoming, do this once. Choose to protect your peace, and you will discover that those who drained you will fade away, leaving space for love, growth, and true purpose. Toxic people often thrive because they are granted access to areas of our lives they have no right to enter. They feed on reactions, emotions, and the energy you release when you try to explain, defend, or justify yourself. The moment you take away that access, their power begins to wither. This is why boundaries are not optional. They are essential. Just as a home has doors to protect the family inside, who you are becoming, your life must have gates that only allow what is healthy, uplifting, and purposeful to enter. When you stop granting open access, you send a messaging, who you are becoming. I value my peace more than your drama. This does not mean you hate them. It means you love yourself enough to stop being drained. The truth is, every minute wasted on toxic people is a minute stolen from your destiny. By cutting off their access, you take back ownership of your time, energy, you are becoming, and joy. Once you decide to shut the door to their influence, they will have no choice but to leave. Who are because toxicity cannot thrive where it is not fed. That single act will forever change the atmosphere of your life, leaving you free to focus on what truly matters. Your peace of mind is not the responsibility of anyone else. It rests fully in your own hands. Who you are becoming. Too often, people give away their calm by allowing others to dictate their mood, their day, and even their self-worth. Toxic people thrive on this power because they know how to push buttons and manipulate emotions. But the truth is, who you are becoming. No one can steal your peace unless you allow it. The most liberating decision you will ever make is to take ownership of your inner world. Who you are becoming. Guard your thoughts, protect your emotions, and refuse to let negativity find a seat in your mind. When you decide that your peace is priceless, becoming, you stop letting arguments, gossip, or unnecessary conflicts consume your energy. Remember, peace is not the absence of problems. Who you are becoming. It is the presence of strength within you despite them. By shifting the responsibility back to yourself, you stop expecting others to change and instead change how you respond. This shift builds resilience, dignity, and confidence. Toxic becoming. Toxic people quickly lose their influence over someone who has mastered self-control. When your peace comes from within, who you are becoming, it cannot be shaken by outside voices. You become untouchable, and toxic people can no longer disturb your life. Boundaries are the invisible walls that protect your value, your time, and your energy. Without them, toxic people will continue to invade your life, drain your spirit, and manipulate your emotions. Boundaries are not about being rude, they are about teaching others how to treat you. You are becoming. Just a country has borders to maintain its sovereignty, your life must have limits to preserve your peace. The problem is that many people fear setting boundaries because they worry about rejection or being misunderstood. But the truth is, who you are becoming. Anyone who resents your boundaries was benefiting from your lack of them. The moment you declare, this is what I will allow, who you are becoming, and this is what I will not, you immediately shift the balance of power. Toxic people cannot survive where rules are firm. Who you are becoming, where respect is demanded, and where access is earned, not assumed. who you are becoming. Boundaries are the strongest weapon because they eliminate the opportunity for manipulation before it even begins. Who you are becoming, you stop reacting toxicity and instead control the terms of engagement. This decision does not push away the right people you are becoming. It actually adds healthier, stronger relationships. Boundaries may cost you a few connections, but they will save your destiny. Silence and distance are more powerful than most people realize. Toxic individuals thrive on arguments, reactions, who you are becoming, and constant engagement because that is how they maintain control. When you argue back, when you try to prove your point, who you are becoming, or when you explain yourself over and over, you are giving them the very fuel they need to keep draining you. But when you choose silence, who you are becoming, you rob them of attention. When you create distance, you remove their stage. Silence is not weakness, it is wisdom. Who you are becoming. Distance is not avoidance, it is protection. You are declaring that your peace matters more than their chaos. Some people only understand the language of separation. They cannot handle it when you stop feeding their behavior. The most effective way to end a toxic cycle is not through endless debates, but through quiet withdrawal. Who you are becoming. When your silence becomes consistent and your distance firm, the toxic person eventually realizes they have no place in your life. They lose power because they cannot control what they cannot access. This choice may feel difficult at first, but it is the beginning of freedom. Silence and distance create room for healing, growth, and healthier connections that honor your worth. When you choose self-respect, becoming toxic people automatically lose their grip on your life. Respecting yourself means you no longer settle for words, actions, who you are becoming, or behaviors that dishonor your value. It is the internal declaration that says, I deserve better and I will not tolerate less. The moment you embrace self-respect, your standards rise, and anyone unwilling to meet them is naturally pushed away. Who you are becoming, toxic people can thrive where self-worth is strong, because their power depends on exploiting insecurity. When you love yourself enough, demand respect, you stop excusing poor behavior and stop justifying mistreatment. Instead, who you are becoming, you create an atmosphere where only healthy, uplifting, and purposeful relationships can survive. You are becoming. This shift requires shouting or confrontation. It requires confidence. Who are becoming? People quickly recognize when someone has drawn a line of dignity around their life. Self-respect becomes like a shield. It silently communicates who you are and what you will allow. Those who are genuine will honor it, who you are becoming. And those who are toxic will retreat because they cannot manipulate strength. Choosing self-respect once and for all is the act permanently breaks the cycle of toxic influence, ensuring you walk with confidence, clarity, and peace in every area of life. When you commit to focusing your energy on growth, you automatically leave no room for draining relationships. Toxic people thrive in environments where time is wasted and purpose is neglected. But when your attention is directed toward building your future, improving yourself, and pursuing meaningful goals, distractions become less appealing. Growth requires energy, and that energy cannot be divided between chasing your destiny and entertaining negativity. Every hour you invest in learning, planning, and developing your potential is an hour toxic people cannot steal. They quickly discover that you are no longer available for gossip, drama, or endless arguments. Instead, your calendar, your mind, and your heart are filled with vision and progress. The truth is, growth is magnetic. When you elevate yourself, you naturally attract others who are also striving for excellence. The atmosphere of your life changes, and toxic people feel out of place in it. Focusing on growth is not just about achieving success. It is about creating a shield of purpose that repels anything that drains you. Once you choose growth over gossip, progress over problems, and purpose over people pleasing, you discover that toxic individuals cannot survive in the new environment you have created. The power of one decision can transform the entire atmosphere of your life. When you finally decide to guard your spirit, everything around you begins to shift. toxic people sense strength. They recognize when someone has chosen to no longer be available for manipulation, and they retreat. This decision does not require multiple steps, endless explanations, or constant battles. It is simply a choice, a firm, unshakable commitment that says, I will protect my peace, I will guard my purpose, and I will value myself. The beauty of this choice is that it only needs to be made once with conviction. From that moment forward, it shapes how you think, how you speak, and how you interact with others. You no longer react out of fear or insecurity. You respond from a place of clarity and dignity. Toxic people cannot coexist with someone who has built this kind of inner fortress. They either change their behavior or disappear from your life altogether. Protecting your spirit is the single act that shifts your environment, filters your relationships, and secures your future. Do it once, and you will see toxic people fade, leaving behind space for growth, love, and divine purpose.